Hey folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So, let's see, where did we leave off? We left off at Southeastern Truck Nationals. What a fantastic show. I think it was 1,690 trucks had registered. Something like that. So around about 1,700 trucks there. Awesome show. You know, like I said in the last one, I rode around on a golf cart for an hour, hour and a half. I walked around for 2.5 to 3.5 hours. I don't know. I wasn't keeping up with all the time. And I still didn't see all the trucks. I keep seeing other pictures that people have posted and some other videos that people have posted. I'm like, how did I not see that? So that was actually the last thing I've done for the last couple weeks. Mainly because it's just been hotter than a $2 pistol out here. I mean, oh my God, it's been so hot and humid that I just think about coming out to the shop and I'm just like, nah. So I haven't been out to the shop since I parked the trucks. As a matter of fact, I just cleaned up all the crap from Southeastern Truck Nationals, like hanging up my grill back over in its little corner, putting up a few things that I drug out for the show. So there was a lot of stuff I had just kind of sitting here in the shop. But on to what we're doing today. Today, I believe we are going to work on this garbage bag. No, we're going to work on getting this this cheap little big block that I got. We're going to work on getting this guy done. At least getting most of the assembly done, hopefully. So I've got, I think Kruck's going to come over and give me a hand on this. But first things first, what I need to do is I got to pull the crank back out, pull those bearings back out, and kind of set that all off to the side, roll the motor back over. And we're going to hit this guy with another hone. I got a 3-prong stone hone, whatever. But yeah, I got this guy. I think it's a 240 grit, 220 grit. I don't know, something like that. 220, 240 grit. So it's a little aggressive. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to run that, and it's not going to be a whole lot, just a few passes. Run that, get the cylinders kind of honed down a little bit better, cleaned up a little bit better, I guess I should say. And then I'll get the ball hone back out and we'll ball hone it again, because that ball hone's, I think, 320, something like that. And apparently when you go with the chromoly rings, cast rings, I don't even remember what rings I got. This was a while back. I read all this stuff, so I don't remember all the information. Feel free to look it up. There's this wonderful thing called Google, but but it said something about getting the rings to seat, and it's the rings that I have, which I believe are cast. Said that they do like I think it was a 320 grit. I may ought to go back and double check it, but I remember in my head going, okay, so I need to hit this thing again with the ball hone when I get done. So that's what I'm going to do real quick is just pull the crank out. Pull this crank out. I was over here pointing and not even showing y'all guys on camera. But go ahead and pull this crank back out. Pull the bearings back out. And make sure I got a battery in my drill. And we're going to hit this guy real quick with the stones. And then we'll come back and hit it with the ball hone. And then we'll clean the block up really, really well. You know, the whole shebang. And then, maybe then, come back and actually start doing some assembly on this guy. We've already plastic gauged the crank. So we know the crank is, it's got plenty of clearance. And so I'm not too worried about that. I'm not going to worry about rechecking that, because we're just going to pull the crank back out, pull the bearings back out in the order that they're in, set them off to the side, and go about our business. So anyhow, so that's kind of what the game plan is. And then hopefully after that's done, we can get, let's see, I got new piston rod. God almighty, I'm disorganized. I haven't been out here in a while actually working on stuff. Somewhere in this giant stack of stuff, there's some rods. Think this box. I think these are my rods. Yeah, Speedmaster connecting rods. Yeah, it says right there on the box. Those are my pistons. There's another box with rings over here somewhere. Yeah, I got all the stuff. Just got to put it all together. It's like a freaking puzzle. So anyhow, that's what I'm gonna get working on. And I guess I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, folks. So got the crank pulled out, sitting over here looking all nice and shiny and pretty. pulled out the bearings, and we're ready to go. So in case you don't remember, the reason why I'm going back and re-honing these cylinders is pretty much, and I know it's hard to see, but you can kind of see the discoloration, and you can kind of feel it with your hands. It's not anything that grabs, but you can definitely feel it. And there's a couple ring ridges way down here in the bottom. There's a ring ridge here on this cylinder that I'd like to clean up. I got a couple vertical lines right in here. This cylinder's not bad. This cylinder's really good. There's a small little defect way down there. Again, more vertical lines here. This is a discoloration. There's nothing really here to fill, so this cylinder may be actually the best out of all of them. Again, more discoloration. Maybe it's just the faintest little ring ridge way down in there. And then again, more discoloration and just weirdness going on here with a good ring ridge sitting way on down. So that's why I'm going to go back, use that 3-prong, and get that guy going. It's got a heavier grit. I want to say it's 240, maybe 220, than what I was using with the ball hone, which is, I think, 340. So we'll hit it with the regular hone, the 3-prong, with the stones, and then we'll get the ball hone out afterwards, hit it again, and try to make the crosshatch nice, and maybe clean some of these imperfections up a little bit better to where I'll feel a little bit better about the whole thing. I mean, in reality, it's a freaking Chevy motor. It's gonna run. It'll probably do just fine with this for a good, 40, 50, 60,000 miles maybe. And it may never have a problem, but peace of mind is what I'd rather have on this. Like I'm ever going to get this motor up that many miles. That would take a very long time to do. So peace of mind is kind of what I'm just going for here. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll get on that, and I'll be right back. So, using the 3-stone hone, the 3-jawed hone, the claw. Nothing can stop the claw! Looking guy. I'm in for the technical terms here. So, using that guy, went through, did all cylinders, slow, steady, just nice, ease. Brake fumes are getting to me. Might be burning some brain cells right now. But cranking it around at a medium pace, and getting this guy going. We ended up with some pretty good crosshatch lines. Things are looking a lot better. They're definitely more defined. This guy, they're lighter colored than they were. This guy, same thing, lighter colored. Can't feel it quite as much, but this is just a hone. We're not actually taking any real material off, but I'm getting good cross hatches going in here. I'm seriously gonna have to step outside because brake clean and closed environments are bad, okay? Okay. I don't do trucks, but man, I love the hell out of some brake clean. So, no, I'm just kidding. Where's my plastic bag? But anyways, seriously, getting a little loopy from all the brake clean fluid or fumes. Jesus. So I'm going to step outside, get some fresh air, maybe even open up the door for a minute. And then I'm going to get the ball hone out here, and we're going to ball hone this guy again. I'm going to clean the block up really, really well. And then, yeah, then we'll move on from there. Probably starting with slapping the crank back in with the bearings and getting the mains locked down, all that fun crap. But yeah, I'm gonna go outside. I'm actually open up the door and go outside for a minute because I'm actually starting to, you know, taste sounds and, you know, smell colors. So, yeah, I'll be back. Where's them catalytic converters? All right, so this time using the ball hone, I'm gonna go a step further than I did last time, which last time I just used some WD-40. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the cylinders with WD-40, but I've also got a little, I cut the bottom off of a 5-quart oil jug, filled it up with diesel fuel, and I just dunked it down in there. So I got diesel fuel that I'm gonna use as kind of like my primary lube, I guess you would say. So we'll go ahead and hit these guys with a little WD-40. And then we'll get back to it with the ball hone. All right, we'll set that down there. This may get a little messy. Yep. Okie dokie. So ball hone done, clean the cylinders out, you know, flush them down with some brake clean, took some thinner on a rag, you know, wiped them down real good. So they look better. Marginally, maybe. Yeah, what are you gonna do? So I ended up opening up the door because it's getting a little silly in here. So, but yeah, you can still see some of the discoloration. Like I said, we're not going to get all that out, but she turned out pretty good. There's still some stuff you can feel, you know, little ring ridge right in here. Same thing over here. They're not quite like all this stuff in here where it's so discolored. That was really easy to feel before. You can still feel it, but it's definitely not as pronounced. And then we've got these two cylinders, which are the better cylinders that I got. They turned out really, really nice. Same thing over here. Turned out good. Still got that discoloration right there. But again, can't feel anything there. Down in here, again, discoloration. Barely can feel anything there with your fingertip. Still not bad. And then over here, yeah, this one's got a lot of discoloration. You can still kind of feel it with your fingers. But again, nothing. It's not any worse than the other ones. So at this point, I'm gonna call it good. You know, like I said, the only real way to get all that cleared out would be to get this guy punched. But then that's going to start with, why not get a stroker kit? Why not do this? Why not do that? Yeah, I know how my brain works, and I don't want to go down that track. So just want to make this a nice, you know, a nice chatty big block. That's it. I'm not looking for crazy performance. That may come one day, but not today. So, and in case you were wondering how I had this set up with the ball hone and my little thing, you can see I just took and filled that in. And I just, you know, crank it down in there a little bit. Had a little bit of an oopsie. Spilled a bunch of diesel fuel all over the floor. Kid will let her take care of that. So, next step we're going to go with is finishing cleaning this guy up. Getting that all done. Get all the brake clean sniffing out of the way. Then I'll go ahead and drop in the crank. I've already plastic gauged that, so we're pretty sure our clearances are good. Go ahead and put the assembly lube in, get all that stuff done, have that ready to go, get the mains on there, get them, you know, torqued down to where they should be, and start moving on with slapping this engine together. So I guess I'm gonna get to cleaning on this guy, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so got the crank in there. Sorry, wasn't narrating as we went, but got the crank in, got the mains in, greased a very healthy amount of assembly lube, grease, whatever you want to call it, on the mains. You can kind of see some of it mushed out right there. Did that all the way across, put my rear main seal in. And in case you didn't know, or at least I saw this somewhere, heard it, read it, somebody told me, I don't remember. You clock your two-piece, you clock it so you don't have the main cap meet up with the block, also where the two halves of the two-piece rear main seal meet up, because then you can get a little seepage. So you clock it just a little bit, and that'll keep it from leaking, supposedly. But we did that, then we went through, cranked them down in a concentric pattern, I guess you could say. Started out with around 55 foot-pounds just to get them snugged, get everything snugged on the center ones, then went out and did the outer ones. And then we forgot and went ahead and did the center ones at 75 and 95. And I was like, wait, the outer ones. So we had to go back and do the outer ones at 75 and then back to 95. But everything just in a concentric pattern. And then the final torque setting was 110. So I got them all cranked down to 110. Everything's good. Checking the spin. This guy spins nice and smooth. There's no drag. It's just clean. There's no hitches, nothing like that. So I'd say we're in good shape there. I do not have a dial indicator, so I can't really check the in play on the crankshaft. But Kruck did smack it back and pull it forward a little bit, and it pretty much didn't budge. So if there is some, it's probably within tolerance. We're gonna call it good. So so main's on there, crankshaft's in, it's ready to go. So I guess now we're going to go to getting the rods plastic gauged and figuring out what's going on there. Make sure that's all good to go. And then I guess start assembling stuff. So we'll catch back up here in a minute. So what we're doing here is getting the rods ready for assembly. Basically pulling the bolts out of them, breaking them open. We're going to clean them, get them cleaned up really, really nice. Guess I can bring one over here. So these are the rods that I bought from Jegs or Summit. I don't remember which, but they're Speedmasters. I don't remember the part number. I don't remember much, but if I can remember, I'll throw it down in the description if I can find all that. So basically, I forget a lot of information about these. I just know they're I-beams, and they could go either floating or pressed wrist pin. So we've got the option for floating, so that's what we're doing. Or I'm sorry, the pistons could go floating or pressed wrist pins. So I bought floating wrist pin connecting rods just to make life a little bit easier, not have to worry about tearing stuff up. But yeah, these guys were having to knock them loose because we got the bolts out, but they're still in there really tight.
Action and show.
So if you look on the bottom side, you can see that these guys, you know, they've got a nice little sleeve in there that mates up. So those are in there pretty tight. So going through, knocking those out, then we're gonna clean these guys up and start assembling. All right, so just got back from a dinner break. So what we've done so far is we've got all of our pistons and connection rods staged and kind of ready. So we got everything oriented the way that needs to go into the motor. Even side, passenger side. This side over here is the odd side, driver's side. So we've got everything kind of oriented the way it should go. Right now, Kruck is oiling up the wrist pin and getting everything kind of set and ready to go there. so we can put the locks on and get the wrist pins locked in to where they need to be. And then we'll put the rings on, and probably the bearing. Yeah, we'll put the bearing on the connecting rod side, and then we'll start shoving them down here in the block. And once we get them down in the block and get them all kind of in there somewhat where they need to be, then we can roll this guy over and we can start getting the caps, or get the plastic gauge set on and get the caps on there, so we can start measuring and make sure we're good as far as clearance is on that. So that's what we're doing. Just gonna set the camera back up, let it kind of record as we go, and we'll catch back up here in a bit. All right, so pistons assembled. Mine is the bearings. We got those we're gonna put on here in just a moment. So here's what we got. Got our oiling ring, got our scraping ring, and got our other ring. Compression maybe? Yeah. I don't know. Compression. Is that compression? Okay. So yeah, so we got our rings on. We got our floating wrist pins all locked in. Everything's greased and oiled up. So the only thing left for us to do is put the bearings in on the rod side, and then we'll get those seated into the motor. And then once they're in the motor, we can get the caps, put the bearings on those guys, put our plastic gauge in there, check our clearance, see if we're good, and then take it back apart, make sure everything's good, lube it up, put it back together. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of little stuff, but moving right along. So hopefully here in just a little bit we'll have a bottom end of a motor completed. So take a little break and I'll be right back. All right, so we've just kind of been running through this, not really recording a bunch. We'll catch you up where we are. So we're doing the even side of the block. We got 2, 4, 6 working on number 8 right now. What we've been doing is plastic gauging them, torquing it down, checking it, making sure that we're where we need to be. They're all pretty consistent, so they're all according to the plastic gauging. Yes, I know those aren't the most exact way to measure these, but given, you know, the specialty tools that I have, which, you know, equate to damn near nothing, the plastic gauge is good enough. So as I sit here and struggle trying to get freaking plastic gauge out, we've been, according to the plastic gauge, we've been reading about 0.0015 on our rod bearing clearance. So a lot of information online. From what we've seen, we are we're within spec from what we've seen online. So we saw it somewhere, we're going to go with it, call it good enough. So so I'm gonna get this cap locked down, check this plastic gauge, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so torque this guy down to 70 foot-pounds per the directions, which are written on the back of the box of the rods. So got it torqued down to 70 foot-pounds, and I torqued it down dry-ish. There may be a little bit of oil that got on there. So we'll see what the old plastic gauge says. I'm not expecting anything different than what we've been seeing, which is, like I said, around 0.0015. That one wiggled and jiggled a little bit. And that one wiggled, so it's kind of, again, measuring out to about 0015. So we're pretty consistent all the way across this guy. So we're gonna call that good. And then go ahead and oil this guy up, put the cap back on, torque it back down. And then we're gonna put the driver's side of the motor together, and yeah, ready to go from there. All right, folks, so got the bottom end assembled. Here we are, all nice and pretty. So pretty. So now we're gonna throw in the old bump stick. See what we can't do here. So this is a comp cam thumper. I forget exactly which one it is. I'll throw it down there in the comments or the description as to exactly which camshaft this is. But I went with this cam because its lift and everything else that was on it did not require me to change springs on the valves. It basically, this can be thrown in a stock truck or a stock motor, and you don't have to have, you know, torque converter change, nothing like that. It just gives you that nice hot for teacher, you know, lopey, lopey idle, you know, the nice little, give me that thump. So, all right, brace her up and slap her in there. Alrighty, so bottom end rotating assembly put together, should be good there. Got the old bump stick in, camshaft, it's in there. Got to get the timing set put on, but didn't think about, I got to switch this out because I went to a double roller. So got to get this guy off and get the new one, which is over there in that box, get that guy put on. So it's like 11 o'clock, so we're gonna call it a night, and I'm gonna get back out here in the morning and get back at it, try to get that timing gear off the crankshaft, and then get the new one on the crankshaft, and get the timing set on there. Everything should be ready to rock, and then I don't know, then we'll move on from there. Maybe go ahead and start slapping the heads on this guy or something. So yeah, moving along. But I'm gonna clean up a little bit, go in and get a shower, and go to bed because I'm freaking tired. So we'll see y'all in the morning. Well, all right, folks. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it there for this episode. There's plenty more coming. A lot of work this weekend. There's a lot of stuff going into slapping a motor together. You kind of think about it in your head. You go, well, you know, I can slap the rotating assembly together. We can get this done. We can get this done. We can get this done. Before you know it, you've been working 10, 12 hours and you're like, I feel like I've gotten nowhere. So, so yeah, we got the bottom end done. That was Saturday. We worked all day today. Today's Sunday. Worked all day today, and got a lot more done. That'll be on next week. I'll go ahead and get that video set up and ready to go for next week's release. And then hopefully we'll have another one the following week. So, so anyhow, I do appreciate y'all guys watching. It means a whole bunch. If you want to follow me on Sorry, got a moth flying around. If you want to follow me on social media, my social media information's down below in the description. If you like the video, be sure and hit the like button. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, something like that, throw it in the comments. I read them all. I've also got an email address down there, and yeah, I think that's about it. So once again, do appreciate y'all guys watching, and look forward to seeing y'all next week. Just remember, folks, it ain't got to be perfect, just good enough. And we'll see y'all later.